Today, we will continue discussing the renowned psychology book, The Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck. In the first part, we explored the crucial element for true personal growth, self-discipline. This involves 4 principles: delaying gratification, taking responsibility, being honest with the truth, and maintaining balance. In this session, we will delve into the second crucial factor for becoming a truly mature person, knowing how to genuinely love. The entire discussion will focus on the following points. 1. Common misconceptions about love, to help you assess if your love is healthy. 2. The characteristics of true love. 3. Stopping laziness to traverse the road less traveled *. It's important to remember that understanding true love is closely linked to self-discipline. In this section, I won't reiterate the methods for self-discipline. If you haven't listened to part 1, you might want to revisit the previous video before continuing with today's episode to gain a comprehensive understanding of the essential path to your own personal growth. Now, let's dive into the first part of today's discussion. Is your love healthy? First, let's answer this question. Why must a mature person be someone who knows how to truly love? Scott Peck states that love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. This perspective resonates with Erich Fromm's The Art of Loving *, which I've discussed before. True love is a process of growth for both you and your partner. Looking deeper, you'll find that the force driving you to be self-disciplined, to confront suffering, and to grow that, too, is love. In other words, love gives you the motivation and opportunity to grow. Therefore, only by understanding what true love is can you achieve profound maturity. Yet, in reality, most of us don't know how to truly love. We often exhibit unhealthy psychological patterns, fueled by several common misconceptions about love. Misconception 1: believing dependence is love. Many people feel such intense affection for someone that they believe, if she or he leaves me, I will be devastated. I cannot live without them. Or, in marriage, some might feel, I've sacrificed everything for this family, but she doesn't meet my expectations. This is more accurately described as dependence. You've clung your emotional well-being to another person, and if their response doesn't align with your demands, you feel lost. A mother might say she loves her child so much that she does everything for them. All their homework, choosing their college, finding them a job after graduation, selecting their spouse, and even raising their grandchildren. Many parents believe they must care for their children their entire lives or they won't feel at peace. This, too, is not love, it's excessive concern. In fact, the essence of excessive attention is often a form of reliance. These individuals actually depend on caring for their children to find a sense of their own existence. Similarly, in romantic relationships, people might demand, tell me where you go, what you do, who you meet. You must reply to my messages instantly. You're not allowed to be with anyone of the opposite sex, and so on. This is also not love. Behind such excessive jealousy and sensitivity is not love, but possession, another form of dependence. You've entrusted your sense of security to your partner. In summary, excessive concern, reliance, and possessiveness are not manifestations of love. If these mindsets in love become severe and extreme, they can develop into a condition known as dependent personality disorder. This is a common psychological symptom in our lives. Individuals with dependent personality disorder constantly need an external object to feel their own existence and validate their place in life. Once they find this object, they cling to it tightly, unable to let that person leave them. Dr. B once had a patient whose wife had recently passed away. The man was in extreme grief, telling the doctor, I loved my wife so much, but she's gone, leaving me alone. What am I to do? However, not long after, the man suddenly told the doctor, I'm not sad anymore, I feel happy now. It turned out that at a nightclub, a woman had declared her love for him, and he felt he had found himself again. This type of person embodies dependent personality disorder. If you've just broken up with someone and immediately feel the need to find someone else to fill the void, you too need to be careful, just like the man described. For him, love had nothing to do with the other person. In reality, all he sought was to be loved, to feel a sense of existence and self-validation. People who constantly worry about how to receive love, but are incapable of truly loving others, are like hungry, needy individuals constantly reaching out, wanting to take. They often feel lonely, even when in a relationship, because they believe they aren't loved enough and no one truly understands them. They also deeply doubt others' affections, so any rejection causes immense pain and sadness. Ultimately, throughout their lives, these individuals will always seek someone to cling to, someone to depend on for emotional support. And none of this is love. Misconception 2, believing feelings are love. Many people fall in and out of love easily. They naturally think, as long as there are feelings, there's love. When the feelings are gone, it's over. If we're compatible, we love. If not, we break up. People often mistake these fleeting emotions for love and compatibility as a basis for continuation. But in reality, feelings are merely desires, and your assessment of compatibility often stems from your own needs and demands. These are not true love. However, we shouldn't dismiss desire as entirely bad. Both desire and dependence can serve as a foundation for the beginning of love. Why do I say this? Because, as stated in Scott Peck's definition of love, love is a continuous process of expanding the boundaries of the self. Pay attention to the phrase, boundaries of the self. When you were born, you and I had no clear self-boundaries. When you waved your hand, you might have felt the whole room move with you. That's because we hadn't yet recognized the distinction between ourselves and our external environment. We felt ourselves to be the entire world, intimately connected to everything around us. But as we grew a little older, around 2 or 3, we gradually began to realize our separate existence from the external environment. For example, you might discover that when you wave your arm, the room no longer moves with you. Similarly, when a child cries out of desire, parents might not immediately realize the child is hungry and won't feed them right away. Through such experiences, children begin to recognize that they are distinct from others, and their needs and feelings are not always immediately met. Therefore, during this phase, children often see themselves as the king of the family, the center of the universe, always demanding that everyone conform to their will. If not, they cry, throw tantrums, and sulk. In truth, this doesn't mean the child is spoiled. It's because they haven't fully grasped the boundaries between themselves and others. They believe they and their family are one, and thus expect everyone to automatically know and satisfy their needs. Then, as we grow, our self-boundaries become increasingly clear. Especially during adolescence, we tend to seal off those boundaries because we suddenly realize, in this world, there's only me. Even my parents and friends don't understand me. They have no idea what I'm feeling. Consequently, people begin to fall into profound loneliness. This lasts until those first romantic stirrings, or when we meet someone and are attracted to them. At this point, we use terms like crushing or falling in love, and we mistakenly believe this feeling of a racing heart is love. But in fact, the initial process of attraction often creates an illusion. During this time, the body releases various hormones, uplifting your mood and quickening your pulse. These physiological changes fuel emotions and temporarily allow you to open your self-boundaries, letting the other person draw closer. However, after a few months, these boundaries can gradually close again as the hormonal stimulation subsides. You realize that person is very different from you, their thoughts diverge from yours, and conflicts slowly emerge. If at this point, you don't learn self-discipline, allowing both of you more opportunities to grow, but instead continue to close your boundaries, then the love will end there. You will never get the chance to know what true love is. This explains why many people fall in love so quickly and break up just as quickly. Revisiting self-boundaries, we must understand that the desires and dependencies that arise from initial attraction are catalysts that prompt you to open your self-boundaries. But in love, you must willingly commit to breaking down these boundaries, even when many conflicts and disagreements arise. Only by persevering together, committing to each other, and continuously exercising self-discipline can temporary feelings of affection gradually transform into true love, fostering mutual spiritual growth for both. Misconception 3: believing sacrifice is love. Many people still believe that true love requires unconditional giving, offering complete forgiveness and tolerance. Some even develop a type of love called self-sacrificing love. Consider this case. A wife had a husband who frequently cheated. Each time he was caught, they would argue, but countless times, As soon as the husband swore he was sorry, the wife would forgive him. Later, a doctor discovered that the wife had masochistic tendencies. She viewed self-sacrifice as love, believing that as long as she gave and endured, it was sufficient. Where do these tendencies come from? They often originate from childhood experiences. If a parent served as such an example, many people grow up proudly embracing self-sacrifice, endlessly indulging their loved one, regardless of any wrongdoing. In love, if you unconditionally and boundlessly forgive your partner for everything, tolerating their mistakes, it means you haven't learned how to truly love. You are also creating an environment that prevents your loved one from growing. True love is a love that encourages others to change for the better, while also freeing yourself from all misconceptions. Unconditional giving must not only enable your loved one's growth, but also foster your own progress. Finally, the most difficult misconception to recognize. Misconception 4: believing complete focus is true love. Why is this? Because complete focus on one person can closely resemble love. Complete focus is when you direct all your emotions and attention towards an external object, treating it as an extension of yourself. However, no matter how similar, complete focus and true love always differ in certain key aspects. First, they differ in the object of focus. The object you allow yourself to completely focus on isn't limited to people. It can also be inanimate, emotionless objects. For example, a love for money, stocks, titles, or the feeling of pride and prestige. When you love these things, you can also completely devote your attention to them. So if you pour your heart into someone, but only to achieve some external goal, that is not true love. Second, when you focus completely on an object, you don't necessarily care about the spiritual growth of that object. For instance, a mother who intensely focuses on her child, cares for and pampers them, believing that everything she thinks and plans is best for them, is demonstrating only complete focus, not true love. This is because the mother has overlooked the development of her child's independence. Lastly, complete focus can also lack enduring responsibility. Someone might focus and care for you at a certain point, but they are not willing to accompany you to the very end. This person's focus on you could vanish at any time. If they are content, they stay. If they are tired, they leave. This is certainly not love. So, what then is true love? True love is complete focus, but it must be guided by wisdom, carry lifelong responsibility, and demand your complete investment and dedication so that your loved one can grow. We must strive with all our might. Only genuine investment and dedication are effective ways to transform the feeling of love into true love. Love will always face many choices. Should we continue or break up? Is it better to endure a resentful life together than to separate? When confronted with such choices, only wisdom and responsibility can give two people the chance to transform their journey of meeting and being together into a true love story. For example, regarding the issue of infidelity that often arises in relationships and marriages, Scott Peck offers this perspective. If I meet a woman and feel a strong attraction to her, I will tell her I want to love her, but I won't, because I have made a vow to my wife and my family. This is true love, because when faced with a choice, you allowed wisdom and responsibility to guide you. It's when you have the capacity to recognize that the feelings arising within you are merely desires seeking gratification, and you are willing to let go of that gratification, disciplining yourself to continuously nurture and strengthen your current relationship. But this doesn't mean you can rationalize. I can have an affair but still be responsible for my wife and children, right? Remember, the prerequisite for true love is complete focus on one person, which must then be cultivated with wisdom, responsibility, and continuous investment. So, what exactly should one invest in love? What requires wisdom and responsibility? Understanding these things will reveal the characteristics of true love. First, true love requires investing in listening. This means you must dedicate time to carefully listen to your partner and show them respect. Of course, this doesn't mean you can never interrupt your partner, but you need a certain level of control over it. You can find more on this in the book Nonviolent Communication. The second characteristic is respecting independence. If you cannot respect your partner's independence, you will easily become dependent on them, constantly trying to control and possess them in every aspect. Respecting independence in love is crucial. It means you must be able to allow the other person to be an independent individual. They are not an extended version of you, nor are they a part of you. Third, and what I consider the most fundamental, is letting go of narcissism. This means not only paying attention to your own feelings and living in your own world. There's a story that is frighteningly common in real life. A young girl with suicidal tendencies was seeing a doctor for treatment. After a while, seeing the girl's condition improve, the doctor happily informed her mother. The mother burst into tears, saying, "Oh, my poor daughter. She has suffered so much for so many years." The doctor replied, "No, madam, your daughter has almost recovered. This is good news." The mother lamented, "Alas, you don't know what my little girl has suffered. It was truly painful." After several conversations, the doctor suddenly realized that the problem was not with the girl, but with the mother. On one occasion, the girl proudly told her mother, "I got excellent grades and I want to draw." The mother said, "Go to sleep quickly, darling. You've been too tired and hardworking with these drawings lately. What kind of school is this, not caring about the student's health?" Another time, the girl tearfully told her mother, "A boy teased me on the school bus." The mother replied, "Mr. John is the most suitable driver. I can't believe he endures those naughty kids on the bus. You should give him a gift for Christmas." Don't you see? The mother suffered from severe narcissism. What she loved was talking about her own feelings. Because she felt sad, she believed her daughter was pitiful. There are countless parents like this who project their own emotions onto their children. If parents only live in their own world, their children are very susceptible to severe psychological issues as they grow up. This is also incredibly common in other relationships. How many couples stay together for a while and then gradually feel that the other person doesn't truly understand them, realizing they cannot connect? In reality, many people in relationships are merely narcissistic, loving their own enormous ego rather than genuinely loving another. Here, we need to clearly distinguish between narcissism and self-love. These two are different. Narcissism is quickly satisfying one's own desires, whereas self-love means being able to self-discipline, delay gratification, and immediately apply the brakes to the demands of the ego. Narcissism leads to personality disorders, while self-love is the foundation for you to mature and truly love others. The fourth characteristic of true love is accepting risks. Some people, after losing a loved one or going through a breakup, become particularly afraid of forming intimate relationships. Others fear that loving too deeply or investing too much in someone will inevitably lead to the risk of loss and hurt. A typical example is those who prefer one-night stands or who want to date but not marry. In truth, if you don't accept risks and willingly open yourself boundaries to integrate with others, it's very difficult to truly grow and love. Finally, the fifth characteristic is being ready to face conflict. If two people are only in love to feel less lonely or to prove they have a partner, then when minor conflicts and disagreements arise, they will easily break up. If you want to continue, both your hearts must continuously grow stronger, and your self-boundaries must expand and merge with the other person's. At this point, you will inevitably face many conflicts. Many people fear conflict and love superficially. You do your thing, I'll do mine, without sharing thoughts, or believing that a calm, argument-free relationship is ideal. But in reality, both individuals lack deep connection. This is simply a form of avoiding one's own problems. Therefore, true love requires us to use self-discipline and the ability to delay gratification to maintain a willingness to face conflicts and stop being lazy to traverse the road less traveled. These are the misconceptions about love and the characteristics of true love. However, it's crucial to note that whether it's self-discipline or love, it always requires persistent, continuous cultivation. The process of truly achieving maturity is not an overnight affair, nor can it be achieved simply by hearing philosophical insights. To walk the path of maturity, you must conquer what Peck calls humanity's original sin on life's journey: laziness. We all know laziness isn't good, but we haven't recognized the insidious danger of accumulating a little self-indulgence each day. It's like a ticking time bomb that will eventually explode in anguish. Peck explains that the natural direction of this world is increasing entropy. From a physics perspective, The universe's energy constantly disperses from order to chaos, eventually dissolving. For example, no matter how neatly you clean your house, after 2 or 3 days, it will inevitably become messy again. This is the process of increasing entropy. But if you then actively try to maintain order, that is a process of decreasing entropy. Failing to take measures to reduce entropy and prevent life from becoming more chaotic, that is laziness. The core psychological motivation behind human laziness is fear. Fear of not doing well enough, fear of losing, fear of enduring pain when solving problems, and so on. And the more one fears, the deeper one sinks into laziness, unable to break free. What's alarming is that laziness aligns with human nature. When faced with difficulty, choosing laziness makes people feel relaxed and happy. When people choose to procrastinate, avoid, or give up, they are essentially choosing laziness. Conversely, if we choose self-discipline and love, we must directly confront difficulties. This is why the path to spiritual maturity is never easy, which is why it's called the road less traveled. After all, everyone prefers the path of increasing entropy, a comfortable life right away, the feeling of having everything without much effort. But in reality, increasing entropy means your life is becoming increasingly chaotic, and eventually, one day, it will explode. Laziness only makes you live in an illusion. Reflect on every moment we live. How many times have we known we were wrong but continued to make the same mistake? How many times have we slid uncontrollably down a slope just to satisfy ourselves with fleeting pleasures? How many times have we lived without principles, constantly tolerating and self-sacrificing for someone? How many times have we, for our own sake, tried to mold others into a different version of themselves? How many times have we been afraid to change, rejecting the growth that life's lessons repeatedly offer us? Everyone has suffering to overcome, but the greatest adversary is not the ups and downs of fate, but ourselves. If a person refuses to change, no matter how much help, wealth, or opportunities surround them, they will only wander in circles through life's labyrinth, ending in sorrow. Scott Peck, Through the Road Less Traveled, tells us that people can refuse anything, but they must never refuse to grow. Refusing to change is essentially avoiding problems and fleeing pain. True suffering is not terrifying. Refusing to grow is what's truly painful. Always remember that self-discipline and true love are the most potent antidotes to eliminate suffering. Actively enduring hardship is a challenging process, but in the end, all these efforts will bear fruit, a fruit called the strength of spirit. In other words, when you gain strength of spirit through love and self-discipline, you will truly grow and achieve more on your life's journey.